the first week of games is any indication of the quality of play we're going to get over the course of this postseason, NFL fans are in for quite a treat. We got to see two number 6 seeds defeat the top 2 statistical quarterbacks of our generation, as well as watching the NFL officials stumble their way through the season. Guys, let me catch you up on everything wildcard weekend. Here are my top takeaways. Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, we had a whole bunch go on this past weekend, from blown officiating calls to the GOAT getting taken down. Let's jump right into my takeaways. The first game of the weekend, we got Bills and Texans. Just in case you missed this, J.J. Watt is back for the first time since Week 8. It felt like a documentary on the Watt family based on how many times this guy's name was brought up. And unfortunately, this is ESPN's last game of the season that they will be airing, so it is the last time we will get to hear Booger recommend spiking the ball on 4th down.
Guy's an idiot.
The Bills started their season overcoming a 16-point deficit to the New York Jets, only to end their season by giving up a 16-point lead to the Houston Texans. And talk about a hell of a game for Josh Allen. Longest run of the Bills season, caught a touchdown, became the first quarterback to do both those things. He then fumbled diving sideways. He fumbled without the ball being touched. He lost 43 yards in 2 back-to-back plays, fumbled the ball laterally on purpose, and somehow was able to get the Bills into overtime. The game began with a little razzle-dazzle, and you got to feel a little bad for the Buffalo Bills here because they got screwed by the officiating. And it was, kind of funny on my part because I'm a Jet fan, but I did feel bad for these guys. Have been an illegal forward pass causing a safety there, and the Bills should have gotten the ball back, but they instead decided to say he was not going to return the ball and he was giving up on the play. However, to the letter of the law, there is an "and" written in the rule book where you need to go to the ground or kneel in order to give up on a play.
These two guys are coming. They're both going to come inside.
Guy's an idiot.
Winter Storm Derrick Henry diced up the number 1 ranked Patriot defense with 182 yards and a touchdown. Henry was so good, Ryan Tannehill actually only needed to complete 8 passes here. That's right, he only completed 8 passes and beat the Patriots. And the Patriot offense was never able to get going. Julian Edelman, their number 1 wide receiver, finished the day with 3 catches and 30 yards, and it felt very much like last year's Super Bowl. Lots of defense, not much offense going on. Aside from Henry, the best action of the game was the chess match between Vrabel and Belichick. And let's be serious, is there anything better than ex-Patriots linebacker Mike Vrabel out-Belichecking the Belichick? Using this method, the Titans were able to run off 1 minute and 55 seconds from the clock, and this is poetic justice because the Patriots did this to the Jets earlier this season, and the Jets were able to beat the Steelers to get the Titans into the playoffs, so it's only fitting that the Titans knock the Patriots out with their own trickery. Now, the craziest stat that I've seen coming out of this game was that since 2003, there has only been 1 quarterback to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl that did not have the last name Brady, Manning, or Roethlisberger. That was Joe Flacco back in 2012, I believe. So enter new player here. We are going to have a new AFC representative. With this loss, Josh McDaniels interviewing for head coaching positions, and Brady's contract expiring, this could be the end of the Patriots dynasty. Now, Tom Brady has not ruled out a return to New England, but he has said that he's not going to give the Patriots a hometown discount. I think the real important question needs to be, if Tom Brady, as the 14th highest paid quarterback, was unable to get the Patriots past the Titans, what is he going to get offered by another team if he wants to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks? How far is he going to take that new team into the playoffs?
I'm very blessed, and I don't know what the future looks like, and I'm not going to predict it.
It's not an individual decision. There are other people involved, and so there has to be some type of communication, understanding, agreement, whatever you want to call it. And that's not a one-way street. I hope you can understand that.
Now, if you listen to Belichick and Brady, it really sounds like Brady's planning on moving on from the Patriots. I don't think he's going to be back in New England next year. Although, as a Jet fan, I have a gut feeling about what's about to happen. He is going to go to the Miami Dolphins, reunite with Brian Flores. Yes, he was a defensive coordinator, not offensive coordinator, but you never know. I think he could go down there. The Dolphins have over $100 million in cap space once they make their cuts. He'll get to face Belichick twice a year in the putrid AFC East. And the Dolphins will be able to take their quarterback of choice, possibly Tua Tagovailoa if he decides to declare, and have him learn behind Tom Brady for an entire year. So that would end day 1 of the best wildcard weekend that the Jets have had since 2010. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we got day 2, and man, was it a doozy. A rematch of the 2018 matchup between the Saints and Vikings, and it stood up to all the hype. Much like the Titans used Derrick Henry to keep Brady off the field, the same strategy was implemented with the Vikings and Dalvin Cook. On the day, Dalvin Cook finished with 130 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, and Adam Thielen led the Vikings with 129 yards, including the long pass in overtime to put the Vikings down on the 2-yard line. Stefon Diggs obviously was not pleased with the play calling. He had a mild temper tantrum on the sideline, which is not exactly what you want to have with all the pressure being on Kirk Cousins, having a diva wide receiver start to demand the ball being passed to him when you are actually winning this game. As far as the Saints side of things goes, Will Lutz missed a field goal at the end of the first half that would have proven to be the difference maker in this game. He wound up making the kick that would send the Saints into overtime, but unfortunately Drew Brees would never have a shot with the ball in his hands again. The Vikings would get the ball first in overtime, drive down the field, and get a first and goal inside the Saints 5, where they would ultimately throw a touchdown pass to Kyle Rudolph, sealing the game for the Vikings. But in true NFL officiating fashion, they would miss the offensive pass interference where he pushed off the defender, and I just feel so bad for the Saints fans. This is 3 years in a row they have lost in walk-off fashion in the playoffs, and it's the second year in a row that a no call on a pass interference play has caused them to lose, or at least been the final nail in the coffin. And the NFL has really made a point in not overturning a lot of these calls. In the 74 reviews this season, only 21 have been reversed as far as when pass interference was not called. So I don't think they were going to change how they, officiated a game just for this one play, even though, they probably should have looked at it. It didn't feel like they looked at it that long. If they did, they confirmed it real quick and just moved on. And it was, I feel bad. I feel bad for the Saints fans. You shouldn't have to go through all this. And this victory wipes away the demons that were Kirk Cousins' ghosts and monkey on his back. He was not able to win the big game that has been the knock against him for a long time, but that touchdown to Rudolph has erased all. Final game of the day, which is Seahawks at Eagles. This would be Carson Wentz's first postseason action of his career. He was injured the last 2 times they've been in the postseason, and unfortunately for him, this would not last long. He was knocked out in the first quarter after a helmet-to-helmet shot from Jadeveon Clowney. That would open the door for the ageless wonder Josh McCown to come in and hopefully save the Eagles season, and you wouldn't think he's 40 years old looking at him, the way he was running and scrambling and lowering his head on multiple occasions. He's actually one of 5 NFL players in the league that are 40 years old or above, and all 3 of those 5 players played this weekend. Russell Wilson continued to show why he is consistently a top 5 quarterback in this league. He finished the day with 370 all-purpose yards and a touchdown, but the real hero of this day, the real star of the show, was wide receiver DK Metcalf, 160 yards and a touchdown. Big rookie playoff debut for him. Lots of hope and promise for him moving forward. And I think it is safe to say that the 3-cone drill is tougher to face than the Eagles' secondary. And could the Eagles have really had a worse day? They lost Carson Wentz, ended their season, and they found out that Jason Garrett is no longer the head coach of the Cowboys. So not a very good day if you're an Eagles fan. But to be fair, the Eagles were missing a ton of players. You look at their team, they were missing their starting quarterback, their top 3 wide receivers, their running back 1, their right tackle 1, their right guard 1, and their tight end had a lacerated kidney. So obviously not playing at full strength here. Unfortunately, not good enough to advance to the next round. Guys, those were my thoughts of everything from this past weekend. Let me know what you think of everything down below in the comments. And as always, go Jets.